South Africa, the 15th BRICS Summit continues on its second day, and head of states and governments of member states address a common currency for trade, the promotion of peace talks, and the group's expansion. In Chile, the death toll after floodings and heavy rains rose to 4. Tens of thousands of people have been evacuated. And in Zimbabwe, polls closed in the nation's general elections. Official results are expected in 5 days. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Razabal from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Wednesday, South Africa hosts the second day of the 5th BRICS Summit. Participants address the creation of a common currency, the promotion of peace talks, and the application for membership of 23 countries to the group. Under the theme BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development, and Inclusive Multilateralism, the summit takes place in Johannesburg since August 22. On Wednesday, the leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa held a plenary meeting where they addressed issues such as the incorporation of other countries into the bloc, the progress of the process of dollarization in the Global South, and the use of national digital currencies in commercial transactions. During the summit, Brazilian President Lula da Silva spoke on the challenges facing the world today.
We face a more complex scenario than when we met for the first time. In just a few years, we have gone backwards from a multipolar situation to one that is returning to the obsolete mentality of the Cold War and geopolitical competition. This is a foolishness that generates great uncertainties and pokes the brakes on multilateralism. We know where this path can lead us. The world must understand that the risks involved are unacceptable for humanity.
Chinese President Xi Jinping warned of uncertainties in the global economy and called for greater cooperation among BRICS countries.
Momentum of the global economy recovery is not stable. International institutions predict that the world economy will grow by less than 3% this year. The challenges facing developing countries are more severe, and there is a long way to go to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The BRICS countries should be companions on the road of development and revitalization and oppose decoupling and broken chains and economic coercion.
On Wednesday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he supported the expansion of BRICS membership.
He has proposed G20 membership for African Union countries. I believe all the BRICS partners are with the G20 and everyone will support our proposal. All these efforts, by giving them a special place in BRICS, will give self-confidence to the countries of the Global South.
For his part, Russian President Vladimir Putin participated in the BRICS Summit via video link and thanked the leaders of the five-nation bloc for their active involvement in mediating the Ukraine crisis.
We are grateful to our BRICS colleagues who are actively involved in trying to end this situation in Ukraine and achieve a just settlement through peaceful means. Dear colleagues, the main thing is that we are all unanimous in favor of a multipolar world order that is truly just and based on international law.
Venezuela's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ivan Gil Pinto, arrived this Wednesday at Pretoria's Waterloo Air Base in South Africa to attend the 15th BRICS Summit. From South Africa, our special envoy Jorge Gestoso tells us what is happening on the second day of the 15th BRICS Summit, which is being held in Johannesburg.
Thank you. Unofficially, and we emphasize in unofficially, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Iran would be the new members of BRICS in an expansion of this group, according to some sources. On the other hand, in the day of tomorrow, that is the last day of the summit, is going to be meetings with what is called the Friends of the BRICS groups, meaning that are countries from all over the world that are very much interested to join the group. Officially, 23 countries have already written their request. In an unofficially way, more than 40 has expressed their concerns. But if that expansion takes place, it could change totally the business, for example, of the oil, and in that case, the dollar will be losing center stage, because those countries could be selling and buying oil in their local currencies, and therefore the dollar will leave room and space for this exchange of new money. Definitely what is going on in this summit of the BRICS here, in the 15th summit here in Johannesburg in South Africa, could be changing the different balance of the world, a new era of the world, a new multinational, a multipolar world, and leaving aside what is being perceived for many as today the unipolar, unilateral world. We get back to you now.
Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, new dates, some more. Other studies coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Chile, the death toll after floodings and heavy rains rose to 4, and tens of thousands of people had been evacuated. Local media reported that the rain, which began on Saturday and diminished on Tuesday, affected 5,000 people and left 20,000 isolated. President Gabriel Boric declared a state of emergency in the regions of O'Higgins, Noble, Biobío, and Maule, the most affected so far. In view of this scenario, the Ministry of Education has suspended classes in more than 900 municipal schools in 60 municipalities in the central southern part of the country.
Early in the morning, the situation worsened because a canal a little further upstream that is connected to another road leaked, and later it all flooded here. Water is flowing, but we don't know how much. More water is coming from the mountains and other canals. There are only canals around us here, and they are already full. And that's why the water has practically gone out and everything is in the streets.
In the Panama Canal, some 130 ships crowd the Pacific and Atlantic entrances to cross the waterway, one of the most important in the world. The jam is due to a lack of water amidst a severe drought that impacts international trade. Canal authorities said that for this month, the average waiting time for non-reserved transfers is between 9 and 11 days. This traffic jam occurs after the number of vessels that can transit the canal each day was limited to 32 from the maximum 38, a measure imposed since July 30 and until further notice. This measure followed the staggered reduction of the depth that reaches the submerged part of the vessel in the water, which is now at 45 feet from the maximum of 50. In the United States, the death toll from the Maui wildfires in the state of Hawaii rose to 115. On Wednesday, the mayor of Maui County, Richard Bison, confirmed the number of deaths and assured 35 bodies have been identified, while another 850 people are still missing. Bison also stressed that the rescue teams are still in the recovery process. Therefore, these figures will likely continue to increase. U.S. authorities confirmed it was the deadliest wildfires in any U.S. states in more than a century, and the worst natural disaster in Hawaii's history. Saudi Arabia's Mecca, home to island's holy sites, has been experiencing storms and rain that affected pilgrims, shattered schools, and caused chaotic scenes. Hussein Al-Katani, spokesman for the National Center for Meteorology, posted on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, that the storm brought gale force winds exceeding 80 kilometers per hour. The official added that the mega neighborhood of Al-Kaqiya recorded 45 millimeters of rain within 24 hours. Conditions appear similar to a 2015 storm that fell a crane at the Grand Mosque, killing more than 100 people and injuring hundreds more. So the authorities reported no casualties or significant incidents as a result of today's storms. According to residents, flash flooding had mostly dissipated by Wednesday morning local time. In South Korea, citizens gathered near the Japanese embassy in the capital Seoul to protest against Japan's plan to draw wastewater from the Fukushima power plant into the Pacific Ocean on Thursday. Tokyo's plan prompted a response from China and partial import bans on Japanese seafood by Hong Kong and Macau. The plant operator said it diluted 1 cubic meter of the wastewater late on Tuesday with about 1,200 cubic meters of seawater and left it flow in a position in the pipe. Environmental activists described the Japanese government's action as nuclear terrorism against neighboring countries and on humanity by dropping nuclear wastewater into the ocean.
It seems that the Japanese government is finally trying to go down a reversible path, thoroughly ignoring the opposition concerns and demands for alternatives from China and numerous Pacific countries. It is set to continue for over 30 years. I just can't imagine how the environment will be polluted by dumping off nuclear-contaminated water. No one will know as we are faced with an unprecedented situation that we have never experienced before.
On Wednesday, Norway inaugurated the world's biggest floating wind park in the North Sea, an emerging technology considered promising for the transit from fossil fuels to green energy. The field is located some 140 kilometers offshore. Unlike wind turbines that are fixed to the seabed, floating turbines are, as their name suggests, mounted on a floating structure anchored to the seabed. This makes it possible for them to be installed in deeper waters and further from the coast, where winds are more consistent and stronger. The construction of high wind temperatures in depths between 260 and 300 meters had a budget of $691 million. According to the Prime Minister, the project is highly expensive, but electricity must be from renewable sources if Europe wants to reach its ecological goals. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, sub-stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's more recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. Germany plans to ease rule for obtaining citizenship under legislation approved Wednesday by the cabinet. The government said the move will improve the integration of immigrants into German society and help an economy that is struggling to a shortage of skilled workers. The legislation still requires approval from the lower house of the parliament. The decision could take effect in January, depending on how quickly the process advances. The government plans to make people eligible for citizenship after 5 years in Germany, rather than the current 8 or 6 years. Restrictions on holding dual citizenship will also be dropped. Applicants will in most cases be required to prove that they can support themselves and their families without receiving state benefits. Also in Germany, preliminary data revealed on Wednesday that market activities experienced the sharpest decline in over 3 years in August. According to S&P Global, the HICCUP German Flash Composite Purchasing Managers Index fell from 48.5 in July to 44.7 this month, recording lowest rates since May 2022 and underperformance from expert forecasts of 48.3. At a ruling below 50, the numbers indicated continued contraction in activity growth. Cyrus de la Rubia, chief economist at Hamburg Commercial Bank, said any hope that the service sector might rescue the German economy had evaporated. On Wednesday, the Russian Civil Aviation Authority announced that 10 people were killed when a private plane crashed north of Moscow and confirmed that former Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin was on the passenger list. Authorities reported that the Embraer plane carried 7 passengers and 3 crew members. The plane was on its way from Moscow to St. Petersburg. The Federal Air Transport Agency stressed that the aircraft appeared to have crashed into the Tver region north of Moscow and noted that an investigation into the accident has been opened. On June 24th, Russian presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov reported the closure of the criminal case against the head of the Wagner military group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, for attempted armed rebellion. In Zimbabwe, citizens went to the polls on Wednesday for key general elections. Polling stations officially closed in most regions and counting has begun. Authorities say results are expected in 5 days. Over 6 million people were called to vote at some 12,000 polling stations across the country. Citizens will elect their next president as well as members of parliament and local government councillors. The two leading candidates in the presidential race are the current head of state, Emmerson Mnangagwa, and the opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa. The election is marked by energy shortages and a high cost of living coupled with a severe inflation crisis. Zimbabwe's opposition leader accused the government's ZANU-PF government of plunging the country into crisis by rigging the election. Speaking after voting, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa emphasized that he expects peace and fairness during, before, and after the elections.
There's been more awareness than in the past. I think we shall have a higher turnout this time around. And besides, we now have more than 6 million people registered as voters. Last time we had only about 5 million. So there's 1.5 million more. And I think this time around, there was quite publicity, and most of our people, even the younger generation, are very interested to cast their vote, because I've seen in the media that, for the first time we wanted to show that we also have rights to make our decisions. It's very good.
On Wednesday, India reaffirmed its position as a leading actor in space exploration as the Chandrayaan-3 mission successfully landed on the moon's South Pole, a world first. The moon's South Pole is an explored area. The spacecraft was launched last month and landed on the lunar surface at around 6 p.m. local time. The milestone makes India the fourth country after Russia, United States, and China to achieve a moon soft landing. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is attending the 15th BRICS Summit, stressed that the success of India's mission to the moon does not belong to India alone. This success belongs to the whole of humanity. The Prime Minister also pointed out that all nations can aspire to the moon and beyond.
Sir, we have achieved soft landing on the moon. India is on the moon.
We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For teleSUR English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.